Okay. Thank you, colleagues. We will resume, and I call on Ariane Burgess to resume.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Our farm animals must be cared for to the highest standard across their entire lives and not deemed worthy of lower welfare than our pets. And there can be no more excuses for the illegal persecution of our iconic birds of prey in the countryside. Our marine life is also often forgotten when it comes to welfare. But from fish, dolphins, whales to the smallest creatures in the sea, all need protecting. And this bill is an important step in that journey to ensuring a high level of welfare to all animals. So once again, I want to really appreciate Christine Graham for bringing this work, for all of her work and her time in the Parliament, addressing the welfare of animals and giving them a voice. Thank you.
Thank you. And I call on Colin Smith. Up to 4 minutes, please.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I'd like to begin by paying tribute to Christine Graham and her long-standing commitment to animal welfare. Her bill is the latest example of that commitment, and it's been a privilege being her deputy on the cross-party group on animal welfare, and I look forward to continuing to work with Christine Graham. We need to prevent the impulse purchasing of pups and young dogs and tackle public demand, and I believe Christine Graham's bill will help with that. Where there is demand, there is also a trade where rogue dealers seek profit at the expense of animal welfare. Earlier this year, in my own region at the port of Kinryan, a large group of puppies were found in an appalling condition, confined under a lorry in cardboard boxes without any food or water. Those poor pups were suffering appalling health issues, and thankfully, due to the efforts of the SSPCA, they all survived and have all since been rehomed. While Christine Graham's bill in its final form will have a positive impact, a number of amendments placed before us today could and should have strengthened this legislation further. I strongly support the prohibition of electric shock collars and other harmful tools to train or control dogs. The Animal Welfare Commission and practically all animal welfare charities have raised concerns about these devices and called for their prohibition over a long period of time. The Dogs Trust rightly have said shock collars are unnecessary and they are cruel. Therefore, it was disappointing that Conservative, SNP and Liberal Democrat MSPs joined forces to vote down the amendments, and a number of their members made clear that they are against a ban. We have missed a real... I will do, yeah.
Finlay Carson.
I appreciate Colin Smith giving away, but given the debate we had this afternoon and the comments we had right across the chamber about the importance of this place getting legislation right and make sure it's robust is the reason many members across this chamber didn't vote for those amendments. We want to get it right. It's not about not agreeing with the principles in general.
Colin Smith.
The reality is that I believe we missed an opportunity, as we should and we could have acted today. In particular, given, well, I don't know if that's an intervention or not. I appreciate that some of the Conservative members are actually against a particular bill. I'll take an intervention from Edward Mountain. Yeah.
Edward Mountain.
For half time.
I thank the member for giving way. If we're really talking about doing proper legislation, the correct place to bring those amendments in were either to discuss them at stage 1 or definitely at stage 2. To subvert the Parliament by slipping them in at stage 3 without discussing them properly, I think brings this chamber and the committees into disrepute. Does the member not agree?
Colin Smith.
Well, I appreciate that Edward Mountain's actually against a ban, and there is complete confusion over what the Conservative position is on this particular issue, but well, you can keep intervening if you want, or you can maybe let me finish, Mr Mountain. But what we heard when the amendments were moved today was a call on the Government to make clear they will bring forward an opportunity for this Parliament to actually vote on a ban. And sadly, what we heard today is absolutely no commitment whatsoever from the Government to deliver a ban in the future. And, Presiding Officer, I have to say, it was clear to me that this Minister does not support a ban, and today he unilaterally dumped the Scottish Government's long-standing support for a ban. And I think SNP members and those who claim to support a ban need to wake up to that particular reality. An opportunity was given for commitments from ministers to say on the record they would bring forward an opportunity to vote for a ban, and they failed to do so. So my concern is today's amendments were the only chance we may have. I hope I am wrong in the future. Now, other measures have been proposed by animal welfare charities ahead of today's debate, which could help promote the welfare of dogs. There's the issue, for example, of flat-nosed breeds, which I raised during stage 1, and others raised a number of issues. Presiding Officer, animal welfare must always have a high priority in legislation. Animals cannot speak for themselves. We must be their voice to protect them from harm, and there's so much more work still to be done.
Thank you, Mr Smith. I call on Tim Eagle to wind up. Up to 4 minutes, please.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I'm happy to speak loudly during any alerts, so don't worry. And as there is an alert of weather warnings, I'll try and be quick so we can all get home. But thank you, Presiding Officer, and I would like to add my tributes and those of my party to Christine Graham, MSP, for honestly some tireless campaigning and all of her work over the last 6 years in bringing this Members' Bill to Stage 3. I'd also like to congratulate, as Rhoda Grant did, the Non-Government Bills Unit, the Rural Affairs and Island Committee and its clerks for all their work on the bill, and to thank all the stakeholders, groups and individuals that responded to and supported the bill throughout its consultation and scrutiny stages. Now, I do actually give full support to the aims of this bill, which will bring about a cultural shift in the way puppies and dogs are bought, sold and given away. I agree with the Kennel Club's support of the bill, as it complements the current regulatory environment, which places all the emphasis on the breeder, and the Scottish SPCA, who agreed that we need to change challenge buyers now and change the pathway so that they take more responsibility. We have been told of the horror stories of irresponsible, neglectful or rogue dog breeding, something that was turbocharged by the increase in puppy purchases during and after COVID. And my hope is that this bill will bring help in resolving those issues. Now, I agree with Finn. I actually don't disagree with Ross Greer's point around shock collars. I myself can remember back in 1997 when I did an animal care course learning that these weren't the right way, and that was many, many years ago. But I also agree with my colleague Finlay Carson that there is maybe another way of doing this, and I do hope to see the Minister bring forward more information on that in the future once the next report comes out. And I agree with Rhoda Grant and Ariane Burgess about getting rid of the illegal trade in puppies, where we really do need to raise awareness amongst our population about that. Now, I know well that dogs can give comfort and support when they are well looked after. I am a collie man through and through, and I am most delighted when I am outside with Rosie, my sheepdog. I do also have a golden retriever, who I would love to compliment, but she spends her entire life sitting on my sofa. In the spirit of the bill, I would ask everyone who is thinking of getting a dog to first study the Scottish SPCA's checklist. It really is crucial to carefully research the potential breeder and not to buy online or from someone where it is not possible to check where the puppy has been bred. Presiding Officer, I and the Scottish Conservatives are delighted to support the Welfare of Dogs Scotland Bill at decision time this evening, and can I again warmly congratulate Christine Graham, MSP, for all her work in bringing this bill to its conclusion.
Thank you. And I call on Jim Fairley. Up to 4 minutes, Minister.
Thank you very much, Presiding Officer. It seems very fitting that we're starting 2025 considering a Members' Bill that has strong cross-party support and addresses a matter of serious concern to everyone with an interest in animal welfare and specifically in improving welfare of dogs, notwithstanding the issues that we've debated around shock collars, and I will address that point. Improving the lives of Scotland's animals is something I am strongly committed to, and I am been very pleased that over the last few years the Government has been able to deliver many groundbreaking and innovative improvements in that area. There is, of course, always more that can be done, and we have clearly signalled our commitment to further improvements in the future. At Stage 2, committee members raised the issue of microchipping, and I reiterate the point that we are working with other devolved administrations to develop a single point of search facility of UK microchipping databases, which will enable authorities to more easily trace the owners of microchipped pets. And we will continue to press the UK Government on this issue, and I will add urgency to those requests. Presiding Officer, I hope the publicity around today's debate will encourage the Scottish public to take more responsibility when considering taking on a dog, and to ensure they research properly how to source one responsibly. There are undoubtedly many interrelated issues regarding responsible breeding, access to and acquiring of pups and dogs, with a commitment to the care for it throughout its whole life. This bill does not attempt to solve all of these issues, but it does raise the importance of behaviour change in tackling many of those issues. This will take time, engagement with educational resources and the effective public awareness. I acknowledge the concerns around the e-collars which Ross Greer has raised and the public interest in that issue. But I'd like to reiterate my earlier points that there are 2 reviews of e-collars which are expected to report in the near future, and it will allow the Scottish Government to carefully consider those recommendations from both reports before deciding how to proceed. This, Presiding Officer, will respect the parliamentary process and allow proper scrutinisation of the issues at the time. But I will give this commitment to Ross Greer and to other members that I will not kick this issue into the long grass. I once again commend Christine Graham for all of her hard work and her dogged determination in getting this bill to this stage. She asked for a short code. She asked for a code in plain English, and she asked it to be able to make sure that people understand the responsibility. Now, clearly, that will be for the people who bring the code together, but I would absolutely encourage all of those points that Christine Graham has raised. Presiding Officer, members' bills like this show that we can achieve what we can achieve when the Parliament and Government work together on a cause of common concern and of interest for the benefit of Scotland's people, its communities and, in this case, its animals. The Scottish Government therefore fully supports the bill, and once again I'd like to urge the entire Parliament to vote in favour of Christine Graham's bill, which will recognise her enormous efforts throughout her career, and I hope she is very proud of the work that she has done, but more importantly for the betterment of the welfare of dogs in Scotland. Thank you, Presiding Officer.
Thank you, and I call on Christine Graham to wind up to 5 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, and I thank members for bearing with me in this long day. Presiding Officer, I repeat, it's taken 7 years to get here, but the Welfare of Dogs Scotland Bill will, I hope, today become law. First, I must thank all the organisations and individuals who contributed to the process, the Rural Affairs Committee for their rigorous scrutiny, they didn't go easy on me, the Scottish Government for being prepared to negotiate with this difficult backbencher, to members who have supported me from start to finish and engaged with the bill today, and some very helpful amendments, but mostly the Non-Government Bills Unit, who have helped me so much and survived my idiosyncrasies, which tested their professionalism. Finally, my excellent staff, Team Christine, not only for the work towards this bill, but the support they provide me day in, day out. Let me make it clear, and I'll repeat. I unequivocally support a ban on the use of shock collars in line with the Scottish Animal Welfare's recommendation of April 2023. I hear what the Minister has to say. The Scottish Government, however, has dodged this far too long. Once those reports are in, I look forward to draft regulations being produced for scrutiny by the Rural Affairs Committee and ultimately by this Parliament. Ross Greer's amendments have pushed this argument forward. It was not the place for them, but he brought it ahead, and I hope that we now make progress. This is my last session of Parliament. I've been here, by the time I finish, it will be finished with me. It will be 27 years, and I hope to see at least scrutiny of a ban on shock collars being used in Scotland. Now, the standalone code, and I'll be brief, when a code already exists for dog owners, that's the very point. Existing dog owners, it's 36 pages. I call it War and Peace. Perhaps that's unfair, but my code should fit on one side of A4, and the Minister has indicated it would be clear and uncluttered language. Finally, that certificate has to be produced if reasonably requested by animal welfare agencies if they have concerns about a dog's welfare. That document signed by both the person transferring and the new owner indicates that you and they have fully considered the questions in that code. That code is not punitive. It is to assist, to educate. With the passage of my bill, I hope we avoid the abandoned, discarded puppies and dogs which fill the kennels of the rescue centres, and that owner and dog have a happy and rewarding relationship for the years ahead. I had with my late dog Roosty, a wonderful, kindly Irish setter, who to this day, 40 years after her death, I remember with fondness. Once again, I hope this is a small step in reducing impulse buying of puppies or dogs, so often lining the pockets of the criminal fraternity. And in so doing, when the time is right, for the right reasons, in the right place, with the right dog, with the right person, a relationship will develop between dog and person that will only enhance your life. And I know I've already said it, but I want to say it again, Presiding Officer. I move the Welfare of Dogs Scotland Bill be passed.
Thank you. That concludes the debate on Welfare of Dogs Scotland Bill at stage 3. It's now time to move on to the next item of business, and there is one question to be put as a result of today's business. The question is that motion 16120 in the name of Christine Graham on Welfare of Dogs Scotland Bill at stage 3 be agreed. And as this is a motion to pass the bill, the question must be decided by division. And there will now be a brief suspension to allow members to access the digital voting system.